Hey, Mr. P helps with Algebra. Here we go. Pythagorean Theorem again, take 2. This time we're actually solving questions. We're trying to find missing sides. So we did one example of that in the last video, but we're going to do a lot more of it in this video. So if we were told we had a right triangle, one of the legs was 8, the other leg was 12, and we're trying to find C, which is always the hypotenuse, then all we got to do is set them, square them all. So we got 8a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 8 squared is 64, 12 squared is 144, and c squared, okay? So combine like terms here, and it looks like we're going to get, that's 8, 6 plus 4 makes 10, carry the 1, so 208. And then the square root of 208. Now, 144, 169, 196. So it looks to me that it's going to be a decimal. So the square root of 208. You know what? I'm going to leave it there. So C equals the square root of 208, and you can put that in your calculator and you can see what that is. All right. So the next one's going to be 9 squared. Notice that this question's a little different. I know you think this is the same thing, but this time we're actually solving for one of the legs, whereas up here we were trying to solve for one of the hypotenuse. 9 squared plus something squared, so I'm going to call that b squared, equals 15 squared. Well, 9 squared is 81 plus b squared equals 15 squared is 225. Now this time I have to subtract 81 from both sides, so 225 minus 81 is going to give us 22 minus 8 is 14, 144. Great. So if b squared equals 144, divide both sides. Square root of both sides means b must be both positive or negative 12, but it can't be negative 12, so I'm just going to say positive 12. All right, so in this lesson, we're going to be applying Pythagorean Theorem, like I just mentioned, and we're going to be figuring out by solving missing side lengths. First, starting off with the question that says, garage doors are sold by the length of their diagonal. What size should Dominic and Kiara order? So we're told that it's 18 feet across and that it's 7 feet high. We want to know how far is it all the way across. Just like the warm-up, that's 7 squared plus 18 squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So that's 49 plus, I need to get out my trusty calculator here again. So 18 squared, calculator, where are you? Try that again. There we go. 18 times 18, 324 equals c squared. Combine like terms, 9 plus 4 makes 13, carry the 1. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And 373 is c squared. Now, square root of both sides, and I'm not quite sure. I don't think 373 is going to be a rational answer, so I'm going to leave it right there and let you do that with your graphing calculator. All right, and that would be the diagonal length all the way across. All right, now we're told in the story that these two are squares. We're told that they are congruent squares. You can read it right there in the back. And that all of the triangles are isosceles right triangles. So that tells us a lot of the information that we do need to know. So leg length. So A is this triangle right here. We do this as a square, so therefore the leg length of this must also be 6. Same thing goes over here for B, so this also has to be 6 over here. So that's 36 plus 36 equals c squared. That's the diagonal length right there. That's going to be 72, so this will be the square root of 72. This one's also going to be the square root of 72 because these both are the exact same square. C is right here. Now we know if this is the square root of 72, then we also know that half that length will be the square root of 36. Well, the square root of 36 is 6. No, it'd be the square root of 32 divided by 2. Sorry, that is not the exact same thing. I need to take that back. All right, so we know that they are isosceles right triangles, but we also know that this side hypotenuse is 6 because that was given to us. And we're trying to figure out, well, what would these two sides have to be if they were the same? So assuming they are isosceles right triangles, so that's really like a squared plus a squared equals 36, or c squared, which is 36. So that gives us 2x squared. I'm going to change it to x equals 36. Divide both sides by 2. You get x squared equals 18. So it looks like this has got to be the square root of 18. All right, so D. Here's D right here. If one leg length is 3, then the other one must be 3. They're all isosceles. 3 squared is 9, plus another 9 makes 18, so this has to be square root of 18. E is the same as this one right here. Okay, so if this length, didn't we just figure this out a second ago? Maybe not. Yes, C's leg length is the square root of 18. So half of that, okay, that doesn't really help us. That's square root of 18 divided by 2, and I don't know that. All right, so that doesn't really help me. Do I know this length right here? Have we figured out D? That would be D's hypotenuse. Also the square root of 18. Great. That doesn't help me either. So E, well, it does tell us that the hypotenuse is the square root of... No. That tells us that this is the what of E. That would be, well, the hypotenuse, well, they're telling us the hypotenuse is 3. All right, so I can use that to my advantage. So that would be an a squared or x squared plus another x squared equals 3 squared, which is 9. 2 of those would be 2x squared is 9. And divide both sides by 2. X squared is the, looks like 4.5, the square root of 4.5. All right. This is coming out very different than I thought it was going to. You know what? I don't find this very advantageous right now. I'm going to move on. We got way too much square roots going on here. Dominic owns a sailboat that is 25 feet long. Great. Okay, I can draw the picture of the garage. It looks like it's 24 feet wide and 20 feet deep. So there's my depth of my garage. It's a rectangle. And we want to know, does the sailboat of 25 feet long, is it going to fit? So if I fit that going across this way, we want to know, is this size going to be 25 feet or more? So 20 squared. So if this is 20, so is this. So that's 20 squared. It's a squared plus b squared. Does it equal c squared? So we got to figure that out. 20 squared is 400. 24 squared, back to my trusted calculator. I should know that by now. I've done it a couple times. Is 576 equals c squared. Add those two together, you get 976. And I don't know if that is. What's the square root of 976? Try that again. 31.24. Great. Awesome. C is about 31.24. Now, will that fit the sailboats? Yes, it sure will. The mast of his boat is 31 feet long. Is that going to fit? It looks like it's going to fit diagonally because it's 31 feet, and that's a little bit less than 31.24, so it's going to be a very tight squeeze. Now, this question on the bottom, I pre-did this because I know it would take quite a while. I'm just going to explain to you what I did here. The hypotenuse of a right triangle is 8 feet longer than the short leg, so I called the hypotenuse x. If this side is 8 feet longer than the short leg, then that means this must be 8 less than the hypotenuse. If this side is 4 feet longer than the long leg, which means that's 4 feet longer than this, so that would be x minus 4. It's 4 feet longer than that. So what I did was x minus 4 squared plus x minus 8 squared equals the hypotenuse squared. And I use, and you can see everything I did here, I squared this to turn it into this, plus itself times itself, plus itself times itself, combine like terms. X squared plus an x squared is 2x squared, but I subtract this one over here, makes 1x squared. Combine like terms here to get negative 24. Combine these two like terms to get 80. And then I factored this and got these two. Now that means that x can actually be two different numbers. So which means there's going to be two different sets of answers. And I'll just leave it right there. The next question only came up with one possible answer, but it's basically the exact same kind of concept. The hypotenuse of a right triangle is 13 inches. Okay, I labeled that. There's your right angle. The short leg is 7 inches longer than the long leg. So find the length of the leg. So if this is the short leg, so this is the long leg, I called that x, and this one is 7 inches shorter. So that would be x minus 7. So I did the exact same thing. I did a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So there's a squared, there's b squared, there's c squared. And then I solved it all out, and I got 3 different answers. Now you can see I factored out the GCF down here because all these can all be divided by 2. And then this can be factored because negative 12 times 5 and negative 12 plus 5. And yeah, you can see everything I said, each one equal to 0. Now negative 5 doesn't make sense because length can't be negatives. And because if x was -5, that means this would be -5, and that doesn't make any sense. This didn't make any sense. 12 was the only answer that made sense. So if you put 12 in for x, one side would be 12, this side would be 5, and this side's still 13. Great. Awesome. Homework. George is now selling umbrellas. In which boxes will an 8-inch umbrella fit? Now, I know you think this is a 2x3x4, so it won't fit. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Well, the crazy part about this question is now you have to solve this twice. You have to imagine the bottom of the box. It means the first thing we need to do is figure out the diagonal of the bottom of the box, and then that will be the leg of the diagonal from corner to corner. Hopefully you can follow that. From this corner to the bottom corner, you need to first find the distance from bottom corner to bottom corner. Now, okay, so that's a 3x4. So if a leg is 3x4, what would the hypotenuse? What would be the distance across the bottom of the box be? So 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, equals c squared. 25, square root of 25 is 5. So I now know the distance across is 5. So I make another triangle. Now I know the distance across is 5, the height is 2, and we want to find from top corner to bottom corner. 2 squared is 4, 5 squared is 25, equals x squared. 4 plus 25 is 29, so the distance across is the square root of 29. Now, 29, so that's going to be 5 point something, because 6 squared is 36, 5 squared is 25. It's going to be 5 point something, so there's no way this is going to fit. It's not going to fit an 8-inch umbrella because it's only 5 point something from corner to corner. All right, I'm going to do the same thing over here that I just did. 6 squared plus 6 squared is 36 plus 36 is 72. The square root of 72 is the distance across. Of course, it's got to be something crazy. All right, I'll leave it square root of 72. So then I make my triangle. So the bottom is going to be square root of 72. The height is 3. That was given. And we want to find this, the x. Now this will make a little bit of sense. We got 3 squared plus 72 because square root of 72 squared is 72 equals x squared. All right, 3 squared is 9. 9 plus 72 equals x squared. 9 plus 72 is 81. Perfect, because square root of 81 is 9. Is 9 enough distance from corner to corner? Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm not going to write it on here because I want you to watch the video. I don't want you just copying. 9 inches from corner to bottom corner. Hopefully you can picture what I'm talking about with the box. All right, last one. First thing I need to do is figure out the diagonal from bottom corner to bottom corner. So that would be a triangle that looks like this. That would be 5. That would be 6. And find x distance across. 25 plus 36 equals x squared. So it looks like x squared equals 3, 4, 5, 50, 61. 6 plus 5 is 1. 11, carry the 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, square root of 61. So it looks like this corner to corner is the square root of 61. Okay, so now I've got a new triangle. It's square root of 61 across the bottom. It's a height of 4. What's the diagonal? 4 squared is 16. Square root of 61 squared is 61 equals x squared. All right, add those two together and you get 77. So it looks like the answer is square root of 77. Now, I need to think about that. Is that big enough to fit an 8-inch umbrella? An 8-inch umbrella, 8 times 8 would be 64. This is more than 64 squared, so I know that this answer is going to be more than 8. All right, that's it. I know you had to kind of piece things together here on the last 3 questions. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And please give me likes if I helped you learn something about using Pythagorean Theorem. Thanks again for watching.